She left us when the smoke rose. What kind of daughter does that? That's what I overheard my aunt whisper last time I came home. She didn't say it to my face. No one ever does. But it's always there. In their eyes. In the pause after my name. In the way my mother never fully hugs me. I'm 32 now. My boots land back on the cracked concrete of our old driveway like a ghost finally returning to the scene of the crime. The mailbox still leans like it's tired of holding secrets. The grass still curls brown where the fire licked too close. It's been 7 years since I left this town. My name is Rachel Kerrigan, and in this place, that name is a cautionary tale. Ask anyone at the grocery store, the gas station, the church. They'll tell you I ran away when Dad got trapped in the fire. They'll tell you I screamed but didn't act. That I stood there crying while the house swallowed itself whole. No one talks about what actually happened that night. No one mentions that I ran to the back fence where the Thompsons' twin boys were locked inside their burning shed. No one talks about how I carried them out, smoke clawing at my lungs like it wanted me as payment. They just talk about how I didn't save Dad. I've spent years trying to outrun that story. Different states, different uniforms, different name tags on my vest. And yet, it always follows, stitched into the lining of my identity. Coward, weak, disgrace. So why come back now? Because last week, a chemical plant on the edge of town exploded. 3 dead, 9 in critical, 4 still unaccounted for, including children. It's all over the news, but to me, it's a call. I'm part of a rapid response unit now. When my captain asked for volunteers for mutual aid to Oak Ridge County, my hand went up before my name did. I didn't tell him Oak Ridge is my hometown, didn't tell him my family lives 2 miles from that plant, that the firehouse I'll be coordinating with is where my brother Luke now serves as chief officer. Yes, that Luke. My older brother, the golden boy. The one who tells anyone willing to listen that he pulled Dad out of the house while I screamed into my hands. He never corrects them when they say I ran. Why would he? Every hero needs a foil. And every coward makes the hero shine brighter. Before we start, if you've ever felt misunderstood by the people who should have protected you, if your silence has ever been mistaken for weakness, take a moment to subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment your city and local time. Let's see where the brave souls are listening from. Now, let's listen to my story journey. The house looks smaller than I remember. Fire has a way of tricking your memory, expanding time, stretching spaces, etching guilt into walls that aren't even standing anymore. The rebuilt structure is cleaner, sharper, too modern for my taste. But the treehouse out back is still there, half-burned, untouched since the night it blackened. Mom greets me with an awkward smile, more hospitality than warmth. She pats my arm like I'm an old coworker she forgot she invited. "You came," she says, "after all this time." I nod. I don't say, "You never asked me to." Dad doesn't come out. He's upstairs. Or maybe he's still in 2016, the night his legs were crushed under the falling beam. They say his silence started that night too. Luke's car isn't in the driveway. Part of me is relieved. Another part, it aches to see his face, even if it's just to confirm that yes, he still hates me. Dinner is tight-lipped and oversalted. Mom talks about casseroles and town gossip. I can feel her measuring my responses, watching for cracks. I give her none. When she reaches to pour me sweet tea, her hand hesitates. "You still don't drink that, do you?" I shake my head. "Never did." Right, she says, retreating. "I always forget." She doesn't. She just doesn't care to remember. Afterward, I walk outside. The air smells of something distant burning, plastic, metal, memories. The sirens have quieted, but the town still hums with tension. Somewhere, Firefighters are digging through steel and smoke and screams. And tomorrow, I'll join them. My phone buzzes. A message from dispatch. Morning briefing. 6 a.m. Oak Ridge Station. Assigned to search and recovery. I stare at the screen and whisper to no one, "Don't recognize me. Please don't recognize me." Because I didn't come home to make peace. I came home to finish something that's been hanging in the air since that night. And this time, I'm not leaving anyone behind. Luke's name is on the brass plate outside the station. Chief L. Kerrigan. It's the kind of thing I always imagined he dreamed about. Being immortalized in shiny metal, right at the center of town. I run my fingers over it before stepping inside, hoping no one notices. They don't. I slip through like a ghost. Inside, the Oak Ridge Station looks different from how I remember. New paint, new gear, new recruits. But the air smells the same. Oil, dust, ash, and faint adrenaline. A smell that never really leaves you. I spot the operations map on the back wall. Highlighted zones, recovery areas, an urgent red scribble near Sector 5. That's where the plant collapsed in on itself. I keep my helmet low, visor shaded. The other firefighters in my unit don't know who I am. Not really. Just another responder. I like it that way. Clean slates are the only kind I've ever learned to write on. The briefing starts. Luke is nowhere in sight. I focus on the voice of the field commander, a stocky woman named Captain Morales from our unit. She points to the map. Today, we're focusing on this quadrant. 2 missing children, ages 5 and 8, last seen near the break room wing. Structural stability is questionable. You'll be going in as pairs, no deeper than level 2 without a backup confirmation. My throat tightens. Children. I shift on my feet but stay silent. Morales glances at the Oak Ridge team. Any local intel before we roll out? And then he walks in. Luke. Still tall, still square-jawed, still walking like every step is followed by applause. His hair's shorter now, clipped to regulation. The moment his eyes land on me, they narrow. A flicker. Recognition or something darker. He doesn't say a word to me, not even to the others. Just a short nod to Morales and then, "Conditions inside are worse than we thought. Keep communication clear. If you hear the creaking, you're already too deep." That's it. No pleasantries. No. "Hey, Rachel, been 7 years?" I expect nothing. And somehow I'm still disappointed. We gear up. The helmet is heavy, but I welcome the weight. It's something real I can carry. Something more tangible than blame. Oxygen pack, gloves, harness. As I clip my radio into place, I glance at my reflection in the convex mirror near the garage door. Just eyes. Tired, focused, unapologetic. When we move out, I'm paired with a rookie named Ashwin. Quiet, efficient. Doesn't ask questions. We head toward the collapsed corridor, stepping over steel girders that look like broken limbs. Inside, it's a furnace of twisted silence. The structure groans, but it's still standing. For now. Ashwin scans with the thermal cam while I move debris. Then I hear it. A sound that shouldn't exist here. A whimper. Ashwin freezes. I lift a finger. There. I mouth, and crawl toward the sound. Under a half-collapsed vending machine and a rain of ceiling tiles, I find her. The little girl, maybe 5, curled in a space barely big enough for breath. Her eyes blink at me, wet and scared. And I say the first thing I've said aloud in hours. "I've got you, baby girl. Hold on." It takes 5 minutes to pry her out. 5 more to carry her back through the smoke. My legs feel like they're marching through tar, and my lungs scream under the mask. But I don't stop. Ashwin takes her the final stretch, while I drop to my knees in the staging zone, sucking in filtered air. But I'm not done. "There's still one more," I tell Morales, voice shredded. She shakes her head. We don't know that for sure. She wasn't alone, I say. I heard her say, "Where's Mikey?" No one volunteers. They never do, once the first save is done. The building's growing unstable by the minute, so I go back in. Alone. Every step deeper is a test of memory and pain. The smoke eats visibility. My radio crackles, then dies. The flashlight beam is weak. I navigate by instinct. Old training, sharper senses, the way air shifts when something's about to fall. Then I see him. The boy is wedged between a fallen pipe and a locker. He's unconscious but breathing. I lift him, brace his weight across my back, and turn just as the roof gives a warning moan. Run. I barely make it through the secondary exit before the beam collapses behind me. It sends up a roar of dust and fire that shoves me to the ground. The boy rolls beside me, coughing. I touch his cheek. He blinks. Alive. The medics descend. They pull him away. Someone pulls me too. I think I hear someone call my name, but I can't be sure. Because in that moment, I don't care who knows who I am. I just know I went back in. Twice. Alone. The news vans arrive before sunset. They always do. Big trucks, big cameras, big questions asked by people who were nowhere near the flames. I keep my gear on longer than I need to, sitting on the back bumper of the truck, my mask still pushed up onto my helmet. People mill around me, reporters, volunteers, local EMTs. The 2 kids I carried out are already being airlifted to the Children's Hospital in Riverview. They'll survive, and maybe forget my face. That's fine. Ashwin finds me, kneels next to the truck, and hands me a lukewarm water bottle. "You're insane," he says, trying to sound casual, but his eyes are wide with something else. Respect. It sits strangely in my chest, like it doesn't belong there, like it won't stick. I nod, twist the cap open. I've been called worse. He smiles. Chief Kerrigan asked about the girl. Wanted names. I said it was one of ours. He asked who. I freeze. And? I said I didn't know. Your name wasn't on comms after you re-entered. Good. But it's only a matter of time. The press conference is set up on the steps of the city building by 6 p.m. Folding chairs, velvet ropes, a podium that smells like political sweat. Mayor Norwood is already there, smoothing his hair with one hand while reading a statement off his phone with the other. Morales is off to the side, arms crossed, looking like she'd rather be anywhere else. And then, Luke arrives. In full uniform, polished boots, not a speck of soot on him. I wonder if he even saw the inside of the blaze. The crowd hushes as he steps up beside the mayor. Their voices boom through the speakers. Gratitude, bravery, our heroes, our team, our town. I stay in the back, away from the cameras, behind the line of medics and logistics personnel, safe in the shadows, until it happens. The mayor is mid-sentence when Morales walks up to him, whispers something into his ear. He frowns, nods, then beckons Luke forward. There's one member of today's rescue team whose name, we're told, needs to be mentioned. My stomach turns. Luke takes the mic. He doesn't smile, doesn't look at me. There were multiple acts of heroism today, but one name in particular has come up. A responder re-entered a structure that had already been deemed unstable, not once, but twice. The crowd murmurs. She extracted 2 children, alone. He pauses, jaw tightening, and she did it without asking for credit, without even identifying herself. His eyes sweep the crowd, then land on me, and narrow. Which, frankly, makes me question the recklessness of the act. A beat. And then, but the children are alive, and for that, we're grateful. The audience applauds. It's polite, distant. My name is never said. Which is perfect. Or it would be, if not for what comes next. A reporter asks, Do we know who she is? Before Luke can deflect, a tech from the comms unit steps forward. He holds out a tablet. Footage from inside. Her mask slipped for a moment. We cross-checked. It's Rachel Kerrigan. And just like that, the air changes. The crowd tilts. Heads turn. Whispers start. I feel it ripple outward like a second explosion. Moments later, I hear her voice. Aunt Diane. Cutting through the air like she always did. Rachel? That Rachel? The one who... And then someone else. The fire. The house? Was that her? It all comes rushing back like a memory caught in smoke. I take one step back, and then another. I want to disappear into the asphalt. But I don't get far. Because Luke is already walking toward me, and this time, he's not smiling. Really, he says, low enough so the cameras won't catch. You come back. Do this circus act, and now you want... What? Redemption? My throat tightens. I didn't ask for this. No, he sneers. You never ask. You just show up, break things, and run. I stare at him. I saved them, Luke. He crosses his arms. You still left Dad. There it is. The only line they ever really remember. You don't know what happened that night, I whisper. He leans in. I know you ran. And with that, he turns on his heel and walks away. The cameras keep rolling. The applause has stopped. I walk back to the truck, not sure whether my legs are shaking from fatigue or fury. In the distance, I hear the faint sound of clapping. A slow, steady rhythm. I turn. It's Morales. She doesn't say anything. Just nods once. And that one gesture is more than I ever got from my own family. I sit down, peel off my gloves. My palms are red, blistered. But I feel more real than I have in years. And for the first time since I was 25, I don't apologize for the heat in my bones. The next morning, I wake up in the firehouse bunk room staring at the ceiling tiles like they're riddles I still haven't solved. My body aches in all the places that matter, and a few that shouldn't. Smoke does that. It gets into your muscles, your bones, your memories. Ashwin left me coffee at the edge of my cot. Black, scalding, no sugar, just how I like it. The silence in the station is thick, but not empty. There's tension wrapped in it, like everyone's walking around pretending they didn't see last night's footage or hear my name dropped like a weight onto old wounds. I check my phone. 4 missed calls. All from my mother. No voicemails. Just silence, waiting to be filled by guilt. And a text from Luke. Don't embarrass the family again. I don't respond. I won't. Not this time. Instead, I lace my boots tighter. Head downstairs. Morales is already in the command bay, running over the logistics for a secondary sweep of the outer rubble. She looks up when I enter and gives me a look. Half nod, half unreadable calculation. You good? She asks. I shrug. I'm vertical. Don't let them spin this into something it's not. I raise an eyebrow. And what is it exactly? She clicks her tongue, eyes narrowing as she glances around to make sure no one's listening. You saved 2 kids alone in a collapse zone. That's either a medal or a lawsuit, depending on who's in charge. But I've seen it before. Families who'd rather rewrite the narrative than let it change. Yours seems the type. She doesn't know the half of it. I spend the rest of the morning combing through debris with Ashwin, checking ventilation shafts, mapping out escape paths that failed the night before. Every so often, I catch people staring. Not with anger, not even with judgment, just uncertainty. Like they're trying to connect the image of the woman in the footage, soot-covered, hauling out children, to the story they've always been told about Rachel Kerrigan, the girl who didn't go back for her father. After the 4th inspection round, Morales pulls me aside. You're off ops rotation for the afternoon, she says. Go home, rest, regroup. Don't need rest. You need distance, she says. Trust me. I start to argue, then stop. She's right. The walls here are getting smaller and I'm too close to the smoke again. I leave through the back lot, helmet tucked under my arm, heat rising off the pavement. My truck is waiting where I left it, still dusty from the drive up from the city. As I pull out, I don't head for the motel. I head home. The house looks the same, unshaken by my return. Mom's car is gone, but Dad's is in the driveway. That means he's alone. My hands are sweating against the steering wheel by the time I put the truck in park. For a moment, I almost leave. Almost talk myself into just driving away again, like I did last time, 7 years ago, with nothing but a duffel bag and lungs that tasted like ash. But I go in. The front door creaks like it always did. The smell hits me. Lemon cleaner, old books, and faint medicinal gauze. He's in the den. Same recliner. Same posture. His wheelchair parked beside him like a silent sentry. His head turns when he hears the door, but he doesn't smile, doesn't speak. I sit across from him, helmet in my lap. I wait. Nothing. I swallow the dust in my throat. They pulled the footage, I say softly. Saw my face. His eyes don't blink. Luke's furious. Still nothing. I went back in. Twice. And then, his voice, dry like rust on old hinges. I know. I freeze. He doesn't meet my eyes, just stares at the muted television screen like it's easier to face than me. I knew it was you when they played the clip, he says. The way you move. I remember it from when you were little. You always moved like you had somewhere better to be. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. Then why? Because Luke needed a story, he cuts in, and you left before you could tell yours. Silence stretches between us, taut and dangerous. I didn't run that night, I whisper. I heard screaming next door. The Thompson boys were trapped in the shed. I got them out. I came back, but by then, the beam had fallen, he finishes. I nod. You were already pinned. Luke was dragging you out. He closes his eyes. I wanted to believe you left me. The words hit like a slap. Why? Because it was easier than thinking your mother was wrong about you. I stare at him. His voice shakes slightly now. She said you were fragile, that you'd fold under pressure. But you didn't. You just didn't do it where we could see it. I don't cry. I want to. But I don't. He finally looks at me. You went into that plant alone? I nod once. He takes a breath. Why? I meet his gaze, steady now. Because this time, I could. And that was enough. His mouth twitches. The closest thing to a smile I've seen from him in over a decade. I was wrong. The words are so soft I almost miss them, but I hear them. And somehow, they weigh more than all the metals in the world. Mom gets home around dusk. I hear her car in the driveway, the slam of the door, the clack of her heels on the pavement. She doesn't expect to see me sitting in the den across from Dad, like some ghost that forgot to stay dead. She stops cold in the doorway, her eyes flicking between the two of us. You're here, she says, her voice brittle like a vase kept on a shelf too long. Dad speaks before I can. She came back. Mom crosses her arms. Yes, I saw the news. You didn't call, I say. I didn't know what to say. There it is. The lifelong chorus of our relationship. Awkward silences packaged as decency. All the words that should have been said in kitchens and hospital rooms and years long past, trapped under propriety and the clink of silverware. You could have said you were glad I wasn't dead, I offer, not as a jab, just a truth. She doesn't flinch. I prayed you'd stay out of it. You mean the fire? I mean this town, that fire, all of it. She walks past me, unbuttons her coat, and hangs it on the hook like we're having a normal Wednesday. I thought you had your life elsewhere, that you'd made peace with leaving. I didn't leave. I say, standing. I was pushed. You just didn't chase me. Silence again. But this time it holds something sharper than avoidance. It holds shame. Dad shifts in his chair, wincing slightly. She saved 2 kids yesterday, Marie. I know, Mom replies, voice clipped. Everyone knows. There's video on Facebook. You're a hero now. Is that it? I laugh once, dry and joyless. I'm not interested in being a hero. I just didn't want them to die. Funny, she says, turning to the window. You didn't seem that eager to save your father. The blow lands so cleanly I can't breathe for a second. And then, finally, I crack. I dragged 2 7-year-olds through a back fence and shielded their lungs with my coat. I passed out in their driveway with their screams still echoing in my ears. And when I came back, the only thing I saw was Luke dragging Dad out of the front. I stepped toward her. I didn't run, I didn't hide, I made a decision, and I lived with it. Alone. She doesn't turn to face me. I lost both my children that night. She says softly. One to fire, the other to silence. I feel the burn crawl up my throat again. You didn't lose me. You refused to see me. Finally, she looks back at me. There are tears in her eyes, but they're not the kind that ask forgiveness. They're the kind that ask time to go in reverse. But time doesn't bend for regret. She walks away. Not angrily. Just tired. Just done. And maybe that's all we'll ever get. I leave that night. Not because I'm unwelcome, but because I can feel the fracture still pulsing through the floorboards. Some wounds take longer to scar, and some truths can't be swallowed in a single evening. The motel room smells like bleach and carpet glue. I don't mind. It's neutral. It holds no memory of fire or silence. I lie on the bed fully clothed, staring at the ceiling. The next morning, Morales texts me. Final operation sweep. You up for one last round? I type back. Always. But something is different this time. As we gear up for the last entry into the South Corridor, Sector 9, the administrative wing, Luke is already there. Waiting by the command post with his helmet under his arm. He doesn't acknowledge me, but he speaks. You shouldn't be on this sweep. Why? Afraid I'll show you up again? I don't mean it as a taunt, but it slips. He exhales sharply. Because I requested this zone, I'm leading it. Morales glances between us. You two have history? Some, I say. Not the good kind. She shrugs. Don't care. Keep it clean. Keep it professional. Stay alive. Inside the wreckage, it's eerily quiet. The scent of scorched paperwork and melted plastic still hangs in the air. Ash clings to the walls like fingerprints. We move methodically, checking under desks, through storage closets, down partially collapsed hallways. No words pass between us. But tension? That walks ahead of us like a third team member. In one room, a ceiling beam has collapsed diagonally. I pause, assess the pressure points. Luke moves past me without a word and ducks beneath it. You always did think rules were suggestions, I mutter. He glances back. You always thought decisions didn't have consequences. We lock eyes, and for the first time, I realize he's not angry. He's hurt. And underneath that, he's scared. Why did you tell everyone I ran? I ask, the words pushing themselves out like they've waited years for the oxygen. He pauses, breathes. Because if you ran, then I could be the one who stayed. The one who saved Dad. The one who didn't freeze. I stare at him. You froze? He nods once, just barely. 10 seconds, maybe 15. But it felt like forever. I didn't move. I watched the ceiling fall, and I couldn't breathe. The image of him pulling Dad out has been tattooed on every retelling of our family's tragedy. But now, it crumbles. I came back. I say quietly. I wasn't there when the beam fell, but I came back. He lowers his eyes. I know. And that's all he says. We finish the sweep in silence, but this time it feels like something has shifted. Not forgiveness, but maybe the beginning of truth. The air outside tastes cleaner, somehow. Maybe it's just in my head. Maybe it's the way unspoken things finally being said can clear more than smoke from your lungs. When we exit the building, Luke doesn't walk ahead of me. He stays beside me, saying nothing, but not needing to. The silence now is no longer barbed. It's heavy, sure, but more like soil than stone. Something might grow from it. Morales is waiting at the mobile command truck. She eyes us both like she's scanning for signs of a skirmish, but when she sees our expressions, she just raises one eyebrow and mutters, "Miracles really do happen." Luke gives her a tired nod, says, "We're clear. No survivors, no remains. Just paperwork now." He turns to me. "You should head out before the press gets wind again." I expect him to add something snide, something final, but he just walks away. That night, I try to sleep. I can't. My body is exhausted, but my mind paces. I keep thinking about the beam in the garage, the way it crashed through our ceiling all those years ago, how that sound still sometimes wakes me up, how no one ever asked what I heard before the sirens, how no one ever cared that I couldn't save everyone, until now. Until maybe someone did. At 3:17 a.m., my phone rings. It's Morales. "Sorry to wake you," she says, her voice clipped but not unkind. "We've got a problem." I sit up instantly. "Where?" "Old containment corridor. We had cadaver dogs mark something today. When one of the local hazmat techs tried to investigate, the floor buckled. It's unstable. They've called it off, pending structural reinforcements. But," she pauses. "But?" I ran the names of the workers assigned to that corridor on the day of the explosion. One of them is Rhonda Delgado. I freeze. Rhonda. She was my first trainer when I joined out-of-state services years ago. Tough as nails, taught me to hold the mask in place with one hand and someone's hand in the other. She transferred here 2 years ago to be closer to her daughter. "She might still be in there?" I ask. Morales doesn't answer for a second. "If anyone's still in there, it's her. The rules say don't go in. The building says don't go in. But some part of me, the part that's never quite quiet, whispers otherwise." I'm at the site 20 minutes later. It's darker than before. The moon hides behind thick clouds and the area is cordoned off tighter than a vault. I park away from the scene, slip on my gear without a sound. My hands move on instinct now. Every buckle and strap a rhythm I've memorized through muscle. I slip past the first barrier by pretending to check pressure gauges. No one questions me. Inside, the old containment corridor is mostly intact, but the floor dips slightly near the far end. There's a tang in the air, like burned copper and mold. I scan with my thermal cam, but the temperature drops too fast to track anything solid. I lower myself slowly onto the unstable flooring. It groans. I crawl. Every movement sends a new creak into the walls, a warning from the bones of this place. But I keep going, because I remember Rhonda's voice during my first solo drill. "Real courage isn't loud, Kerrigan. It's quiet, private. No one may see it, but you'll feel it in your spine." I make it to the far corner, and there, between a collapsed vent duct and a broken water pipe, is her helmet, still intact. I pull it toward me slowly, and then I see her hand, pinned under a support beam, her body curled slightly to shield something beneath her. I crouch, reach forward. It's a child, not on the roster, not even accounted for. A maintenance worker's son? A visitor? The child's body is motionless, small, curled up against her chest, but then a twitch, faint, fragile, alive. I swallow hard, whisper, "You stubborn woman." And then the corridor shifts. Something above us groans violently. Dust rains down. My mind flashes. Options, exits, angles. I sling the child across my shoulders, cradle Rhonda's helmet under one arm, and start crawling back. The beam behind me cracks. The flooring gives just a few centimeters, enough to know the next second might be my last. But I don't think about that. I think about Rhonda. I think about the girl in the shed. I think about the children I already carried out. And I keep going. My radio crackles to life. Someone's yelling my name, but I ignore it. I can't afford distractions. Not now. I reach the exit just as the far end of the corridor collapses in a rain of steel and ash behind me. I stumble out, coughing, clutching the child to my chest. The paramedics swarm. One takes the kid. Another grabs my arm. I shove my helmet off, gasping for air. Morales is there in seconds. Her face is pale. "You went in. Again." I nod. She doesn't say anything for a long time. Then, "Did you find her?" I hold up the helmet. She takes it from me like it's holy. "God," she mutters, her voice shaking. "You brought her back." "Part of her," I whisper. "And that part, along with the child she died protecting, is enough." The press catches the story before sunrise. Of course they do. Someone must have leaked it. Maybe a medic, maybe a bystander. But by 6 a.m., the footage of me carrying the child out is already clipped, captioned, and circulating online. This time, there's no mask, no visor. Just my face, caked in soot, eyes red, hair plastered to my forehead. I look like someone who's crawled through hell and doesn't regret it. Which, to be fair, I have. The headlines are more generous than I expect. Second heroic rescue by Kerrigan firefighter. Oak Ridge's unsung daughter strikes again. Who is Rachel Kerrigan? I don't answer any of the interview requests. I let them spiral in their own noise, let them write their stories. Because the real one? It's quieter. It lives in the aftermath. I spend the next few days helping with cleanup operations. I take short shifts, mostly silent ones, directing new volunteers, helping families retrieve belongings from safe zones. Morales keeps me off the front lines. Maybe because she thinks I've done enough. Maybe because she knows I need space now. Luke doesn't talk to me, not directly. But he's around. I feel him like a shadow trailing one step behind. Every time I turn, he's there, working, checking radio lines, coordinating thermal scans. It's not peace, not exactly. But it isn't war anymore. And that's enough. For now. Then, one afternoon, I'm at the station locker room, stripping out of my gear, when someone knocks on the wall beside me. I glance up. Luke. He looks uncomfortable, like a man rehearsing a line he doesn't want to say. He clears his throat. "They're holding a ceremony?" I blink. "What kind of ceremony?" "For responders," he says. "Those who went beyond protocol. There'll be medals. The mayor, the fire chief. It's a whole thing." I dry my hands on my towel. "You want me to attend?" He shrugs. "They do. Morales submitted your name." "And you?" He meets my eyes. "I think you earned it." I don't answer, because part of me still doesn't trust that the ground beneath this olive branch won't collapse, but I nod anyway. 2 days later, I stand in front of a room full of people who once only knew my name in whispers. Some still don't meet my eyes. Others look at me like they're waiting for me to become someone else, to prove their doubts right. But I just stand there, in my dress uniform, hair pulled back, medals I haven't yet earned pinned temporarily to my chest by someone else's hand. The mayor reads a long list of acknowledgments. The room is warm with applause. Then he calls Morales up. She gives a short, solid speech about resilience and unity, and the quiet work done in the darkest places. And then she steps aside. Luke walks to the microphone. He's wearing the same uniform I remember from childhood, the one he wore to career day at my middle school when he was just 24 and full of bright eyes and promise. But now his face is heavier. His voice is lower. "We talk a lot about bravery in this line of work," he begins. "About how it looks, what it sounds like. But sometimes, bravery doesn't look like a guy kicking in a door with flames behind him. Sometimes it looks like someone doing the job without needing to be seen, without needing applause." He pauses. "There was one responder this week who went into that building twice without backup and came out with life in her arms. She didn't wait for protocol. She didn't flinch. She didn't freeze." He turns. Our eyes lock. "She went back in. Twice. Alone." The room goes still. Even the air feels different. Then he nods toward me. "Rachel Kerrigan, please step forward." My legs move before my heart can catch up. I walk onto the stage, unsure of where to look. The applause starts slow. A few claps here, there. Then louder. Stronger. A sound I've never associated with my name in this town. The fire chief pins the real medal on me. It's heavy. Cooler than I expect. His hand rests on my shoulder a second longer than necessary. "Damn proud of you," he says in a low voice. "Your mentor, Rhonda? She'd be raising hell to celebrate this." I nod. Can't speak. When I turn back toward the crowd, I see them. My mother, standing in the back, fingers clasped tightly, lips trembling. And beside her, Dad. His chair angled so he can see clearly. He lifts a hand. Small, barely a wave. But I feel it in my bones. For the first time in years, I feel like I belong in this town. Not as a ghost or a rumor, but as someone who did something right. Not perfect, just right. After the ceremony, Luke finds me near the water table. He doesn't say anything for a long time. Then he asks, "You going to stay?" I shake my head. "Not forever?" He nods. "But long enough to come to dinner?" I look at him. Really look. And then I say, "Yeah, long enough." He nods again and walks away, slipping back into the crowd. And for the first time, I realize I'm not alone in this room. I never really was. They just couldn't see me through the smoke. Dinner at the Kerrigan house is quieter than I remember. No one's shouting. No one's accusing anyone of anything. No forks are slammed down. No doors slammed shut. It's not warm exactly, but it isn't ice. It's peace in its first awkward form. Mom cooks lasagna, her default for something special. Though she doesn't say those words. She moves around the kitchen like she doesn't know how to fit in her own house anymore, like time has shifted the cabinets. We eat at the table for the first time in a decade. Luke is there. So is Dad, seated at the head like he always was. Me, across from Luke. Same spot I used to hate as a teenager because it felt like the quiet corner. Now, it feels right. I keep expecting someone to say the wrong thing, to call me dramatic, or ungrateful, or remind me, once again, what I didn't do all those years ago. But no one does. Instead, Dad starts telling a story. He clears his throat and says, "Do you remember the time Rachel rode her bike straight off the dock at the lake house?" I blink. "Wait, you remember that?" Luke snorts. "She was trying to prove she could ride without hands." "I could ride without hands," I protest. "It was the turn that got me." Mom covers her mouth with her napkin, and I realize she's smiling. Maybe even laughing a little. Something in me softens. After dinner, Mom brings out old photo albums, not with any ceremony, just quietly sets them on the table and flips a few pages. There's a picture of me, age 9, in a red helmet 2 sizes too big, holding a garden hose like a fire nozzle. "I remember this," she says softly. "You made Luke spray you just so you could pretend to rescue the dog." I smile. Teddy was very dramatic. He played dead better than any real dog I've met. She chuckles. And then she looks at me. Really looks. I don't think I ever told you how brave that was, she says, or how much I saw you, even back then. I want to believe her. I really do. But it's hard to let go of the years of not being seen. Still, I nod. Not in agreement, but in permission. Permission to let her try. Later, I help Dad back into his room. It's the first time we've been alone since the ceremony. He stops at the door, his hand on the frame. You're leaving soon? Probably tomorrow. He nods slowly. You're not running this time, though. No, I say. I'm not. You're still angry. I think about it. Less than I used to be. More than I want to be. That's fair. He wheels himself inside. I step in, about to say goodbye, when he speaks again. You know, after the fire, I used to sit here at night, waiting for the sound of your truck. I told myself if you came back, I'd listen. Just once. But then days turned to months, and I stopped believing you'd ever forgive us for not believing in you. He looks up at me. And I figured, maybe you were right not to. I swallow. My voice is quiet. I didn't need you to believe in me. I just needed you to ask. He nods. I'm asking now. And that, somehow, undoes something in me. I reach out, rest a hand on his shoulder. His skin is thinner than I remember. But the weight of that small gesture feels enormous. I'll see you in the morning, I say. He nods, his eyes glassy. Drive safe. Back in my room, the old one still decorated in muted pinks and dusty posters, I sit on the edge of the bed and stare at the closet. It's full of old uniforms, soccer trophies, half-written journals, ghosts of the girl they thought they knew. I grab a notebook off the shelf, flip through the pages. Most of it is silly teenage angst, but then, toward the back, I find something I'd forgotten. A list. Things I want to do when I'm brave. Jump into the deep end of the lake. Tell Luke to stop hogging the flashlight. Apply to EMT school. Leave. Come back. I trace the final line with my finger. Come back. I did. Not because they asked me to, but because I chose to. Because sometimes, bravery isn't a moment. It's a series of them. Quiet choices stacked like bricks, building something stronger than rage. Stronger than silence. The next morning, I pack my truck. Mom comes outside to see me off. She holds a small paper bag. Snacks, she says awkwardly. Nothing fancy, just something for the road. I take it. Thanks. She steps forward. Hugs me. It's stiff at first. Then warmer. Then she lets go. Rachel, she says. Come back again. When it's not about saving lives. I nod. I'd like that. Luke walks out next, holding a small box. He opens it. Inside is a silver key. What's this? Locker 47 at the station, he says. We're retiring it. Thought it might be nice if you had something waiting, in case you're ever around and want to gear up. I take the key. It's cool in my palm. Then I start the engine, roll down the window, and wave. As I drive down the road, past the old school, the bakery, the corner where I crashed my bike when I was 11, I feel something I haven't felt in years. Not vindicated, not forgiven, but free. 3 months later, I get a letter in the mail. Real paper. Real stamp. No return address, just a clean envelope with my name written in tight cursive. I open it at my kitchen table, next to a cup of coffee and a window that lets in the 7:00 a.m. sunlight like a benediction. Inside is a short note. Rachel, we're adding your name to the memorial wall, not because you need it, but because we do. People forget that the ones who go back in never come back out quite the same. Thank you. For going back. For all of us. Jay. Attached is a photo. The wall is dark marble, polished to a quiet shine. Etched along the center is a new plaque, not flashy, not large, just my name, and the words, "Twice in, alone." I don't cry, but I do sit for a long time, tracing the photo with my fingertips, thinking of every step I took into that fire, every voice I didn't listen to, every judgment I carried on my back like extra gear, and how none of it stopped me. I still carry the burn scars on my arms, not large, but there. Thin, pale lines that wind along my skin like whispered stories. Sometimes I catch people staring at them. I don't hide them anymore. Some stories deserve to be seen. At work, I've moved into a new unit. Urban response. Still field. Still boots on the ground. My team doesn't know all of it. Just enough. They know I go quiet before a call, and that I'm calm when others panic. They know I don't flinch around fire. They don't ask why. One night, we get called to a building collapse. Nothing on fire. Just time and rot taking down what the rain didn't finish. As we secure the perimeter, I see a girl across the street, maybe 10 years old, clutching a blanket and watching everything with wide eyes. She's holding a stuffed animal by the ear. I walk over and crouch beside her. "You okay?" She nods. "My brother's inside. They said he's fine, but I heard the wall fall." I look at her. The way she's gripping that bear. The way she's already preparing herself for disappointment, like some kids just know that life doesn't always come through. I hand her my helmet. "It's heavy," I say, "but it's lucky. Keep it warm for me until I come back." She takes it, eyes wide like I've handed her a crown. "Promise?" she asks. I smile. "Promise." And then I go in. Because that's what I do now. Because even when the flames are gone, there's always someone waiting behind smoke. And I know, deep in my bones, that I can go back in. Not to prove anything. Not to fix the past. But because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is still show up. Even after the fire. Even when they've already named you the coward. Especially then. And when you come out again, when the world sees you not as broken, but as whole despite the breaks, you don't need their applause. You've already earned something better. Yourself.